Today is another blind tasting day. I have 4 Chateauneuf Du Pape for you. It's a GSM variety, which is Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre. Mourvèdre providing that black fruit, blue fruit, a little bit more dark fruit character, whereas Grenache being a little bit more red fruit, fruit forward style, whereas the Syrah tends to be the balancer with a little bit of spiciness, giving a little complexity and structure. Chateauneuf Du Pape is one of my favorite wine because it's big and punchy, filled with red fruits, blue fruits, earthy tones, but complex. It's lovely wine. So this is going to be an interesting one because the price starts at $20, but the most expensive one here is about $60. So there's some price gap between here and there. And let's see if $20 wine is as good as $60, or will $60 wine gonna smoke the crap out of $20 wine? Shall I begin? Starting now. I got my wines, I got my notebook and a pen, so let's begin with the wine tasting, shall we? To see which wine I'm trying, you can tell by the base of the wines here. It's color-coded, black, orange, white, and gray. And it's gonna be A, B, C, and D, as followed. So you know which wine I'm trying. Also, I'm gonna have graphics around this area right here, so you can see what I'm trying and my tasting notes, all that kind of stuff. Like the usual, we're gonna do the colors and the nose first, and then palate towards the end. So let's begin with the wine A. So wine A is medium, ruby in color, medium in intensity on the nose. I get lots of floral characteristics like roses, violet, and blossom. Touch of earthy tones in the background, a little bit of oak, minty, green character like asparagus, and touch of cherry. I get a lot more floral characteristics in the foreground and a little bit more of that cherry, a cranberry characters in the background. It's usually the other way around. So on that sense, quite interesting, but still lovely on the nose. I like it. It's not flawed. That's always a nice thing, isn't it? Moving on to wine B, shall we? Wine B is medium ruby to garnet color because I see a lot more separation towards the rim. So I'm guessing this is a little bit more aged wine at older vintages. And on the nose, it's a medium intensity. I get earthy characters, gravels, mushroom. It's a little savory. And quite honestly, I don't get much of the fruit like a red berry, cherry, or cranberry characteristics on this particular one. It's quite muted. So it's quite interesting. Not as impressive as the last wine in terms of the nose, but who knows in the palate. So we're gonna move on to wine C. Wine C is medium, ruby, slight separation towards the rim. It's right in between wine A and B. And on the nose, it's medium intensity, floral, minty, earthy characters, and I get that slightly bit of candy bubblegum, which is a sign of carbonic maceration. Wine D. Wine D, very similar to wine C. Medium ruby, slight separation towards the rim. On the nose, medium intensity, floral characteristics like blossom, roses, earthy, a little bit of candy in the background, and some cherry going on. So, exception of wine A and B, which was distinctively different, wine C and D is quite similar together. Let's try them and see which one I like the best, shall we? Going back to wine A. Wine A is medium minus in acidity, medium plus on tannins, high in alcohol, medium intensity. On the palate, I get cherry, charred cherry, earthy characters, and herbs like dried herbs, a little bit herbaceous, and then it's quite tannic. It's really grippy, not softened at all. Probably because I'm guessing it's a younger vintage, but very nice wine. But I think can definitely age for a few more years in the cellar, kind of soften up those tannins. But it doesn't have the acidity that I really like. I wish the acidity level was a little high to give it a little bit more refreshing characters because this is very dark, bold, big, punchy as of right now. So, I mean, in that sense, it's a great wine, but my personal liking is a touch more acidity would have been perfect. Moving on to wine B. I just have to say, wow, because this is one of the best Chateauneuf Du Papes I ever had so far. Wine B is medium in acidity, medium plus in tannins, high alcohol, medium plus intensity, medium plus finish. It's very elegant. It's filled with cherry, plum, lovely mushroom, earthy gravel tones in the background, and little herbs, dried herbs. touch of floral characteristics. It's extremely complex. It's well structured. Very, very nice wine. Lovely wine. On the nose, this was my least favorite, but on the palate, I think this is gonna be my favorite as of right now. Moving on to Wine C. Wine C is medium in acidity, medium tannins, high in alcohol, medium intensity, medium finish. It's quite medicinal, herbaceous, cherry, earth, but very slightly. It's some VAs going on, and I thought this was a no good wine because compared to A and B, this falls off short, really short. So if this is a $20 wine, this would be it. Not that impressive. Moving on to Wine D. Wine D is medium acidity, medium plus tannins, high alcohol, medium plus intensity, and medium on finish. It's a very nice wine. I get cherry, charred cherry, earth tones, mushroom, gravel, and that touch of bubblegum. Very good wine. Overall, amazing tasting. And here are my final thoughts, are that wine B and D is definitely on an upper tier, in my personal opinion. A being the next, C being the last. Now, C was just lacking a lot of complexity and structure I would expect from Chateauneuf Du Pape, whereas A was just about right, that entry level, $30, $40 level, whereas wine B and D, it delivered the most, wine D being the slightly less. So if I were to pick in terms of numbers, I'll go with wine B being number 1, wine D being number 2, A being my number 3, and wine C being the number 4. Nonetheless, I'm gonna ask my wife Jenna to grab some wines and see which ones are which. Shall we? Thank you. Black?
Black, all the way at the end.
Okay.
This is gray.
Gray? Oh, this is black. I'm gonna start with my favorite wine, the wine B. So, I hope this is not a $20 wine, because if this is a $20 wine, everyone should get it, because this is really freaking good. All right. Ba-da-ba-ba. Woo! What is it? 2017 Chateauneuf Du Pape et Guigal. Out of all the wines today, this is the most expensive wine. But quite honestly, it's worth every dollar, because out of all the wines today here, it showed most amount of tri-sherry characteristics and most elegant. It's big and punchy, at the same time elegant, complex. It's a lovely wine. That's all I have to say. Really good, really well made. Moving on to wine D. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ooh, what is this? Chateau De Vaudieu? Chateau De Vaudieu? Chateauneuf Du Pape, 2018. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, because I'm really bad at pronouncing French words. This is really well made, it's lovely. This wine got closest to the one previous one, and I think this is about $40 or $50 depending where you purchase it. But I found this at Costco for about $35, $39, so a little below $40. So really good value for what it is. Lovely wine, awesome. Now moving on to wine A. All right. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ooh. I am surprised that this will be my third pick. Kirkland Chateauneuf Du Pape 2020. It's a pretty darn good wine for $20. Like, man, really well made for $20. I liked it. Awesome. And last but not least, wine C. Chateauneuf Du Pape 2019. Oh gosh, Guillaume Gonnet. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. I'm pretty sure I'm not. Wine C, out of all the wine, was medicinal and herbaceous. It just wasn't generous enough. But at the same time, it's the second cheapest wine out of all the flight today. These were the Chateauneuf Du Papes. What do you guys think? Did you like it? It was an amazing tasting. I loved it, every moment of it, despite there's an okay wine. But the wine B and the wine D, it was a lovely wine. Like, this is a reason why I love drinking wine, because especially blind tasting, because as I do blind tasting, they're little here and there. It gets your subjective mind out of your head because you don't know which one's which. Just a class act. It's just a class act wine, these two. It's a lovely freaking wine. It's amazing. That's all I have to say. The underdog here, the Kirkland wine here, $20. The cheapest wine here came out the third. That is very surprising. Really, really well made. I liked it too. Now, is it as good as wine B or wine D here? Definitely not. But for a third of a cost of the wine B, for $20, it delivers. It's actually really well made for $20. If you never tried Chateauneuf Du Pape in your life, go give the Kirkland one a try, because it's affordable and it shows all the characteristics I would expect from Chateauneuf Du Pape. It's not the most elegant, nor not the most complex, but $20, it's hard to beat. That is all for y'all today. It's a really, really good tasting. It's been fun. Drink responsibly, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alrighty? Don't forget to leave a comments down below. Give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.